Hey everyone. So as mentioned, my name's Sam Wolfshall. I am a cloud specialist at Darktrace. I wanted to take a break from the many demos that you guys will be receiving over this time. There's been a lot of talks about cloud security. We are at Inforce after all. But today I want to be zooming out a bit and covering not only cloud security, but also how it relates into what you already have in place to give your SOC team a more holistic and centralized view of your entire IT landscape. So just a quick agenda here. We'll start, why we're here. Why are we attending a cloud conference? How did we start moving workloads into the cloud in the first place? We'll talk a little bit about the current state of the SOC visibility in hybrid environments and a new approach to give better insight into the issues that need to be addressed. And then we'll wrap it up with what you can do to give to your SOC team to have a better understanding of business context when you're addressing those issues. So why are we in the cloud in the first place? Buying servers, racking, stacking, powering, cooling, cabling, all of those things, it's not very efficient. So we can take advantage of the economies of scale by leveraging different technologies that cloud service providers offer. We can also pay by what we use instead of having to make those purchases up front. It's also even easier with the advances of different technologies that we've made into code as making them more portable and scalable. Those technologies support things like containerization through things like Docker or tools to orchestrate at scale with tools like Kubernetes. And it makes moving to the cloud even easier and even modernizing your applications into things like microservices to run more efficiently. Since cloud service providers have a service-based consumption model, they are highly motivated to offer resilient and highly performant platforms for applications running in their cloud. And automated scalability and disaster recovery can be set up with just a toggle of a switch. So there's always somebody who is a problem in the setup, and the wet blanket is the security team, of course. So now security teams already had such a difficult time protecting from internal and external threats when the hardware was located on site and applications were more traditional. But now the IT landscape is spread across the different data centers that are available, the different technologies, and the new ways of connecting to those different technologies. Developers are used to using cutting-edge technology. Competition is developing services faster than ever, and pressures on the IT department to provide more and more services with less and less budget is really stretching out the security team. Applications are running where they're best for the business and not where they're best for security. So everyone's focus is shifted to these new technologies, and the security team is left scrambling to get up to speed when they have the difficult job of embracing these new technologies while still making them secure enough to run applications in these environments. The security industry doesn't make this easy on them either. There's hundreds of siloed tools that are limited just to the parts of the applications that are running in the cloud, and they only give visibility there. But what about all the things that are running, that are still running on premise? Migrating to the cloud is a journey. Developers may rewrite the front end of a business-critical application to take advantage of some AWS cloud-native functionality. They may even modernize a traditional monolithic application and split it into smaller services to follow some sort of microservices architecture, and even leverage certain functions like serverless functions or ECS. But there will still be artifacts that are running in traditional data centers. Likely the lion's share of the applications will be on-premise, especially for those who are still early in their cloud migration journey. Cloud security solutions need to be part of a current security tooling, extending the coverage into the cloud as you move. You should ask yourself if your current security platform allows you to embrace these new technologies within your current environment. You should ask, does it help you understand misconfigurations and risks as you introduce them into your environment? And you should also say, does it help you see real-time anomalous behaviors at the same time? Because it's always good to understand risks in your environment that are hypothetical, but until they become actual threats, you need to be able to see both. So, too many tools out there. Today, many companies are running duplicate security stacks with tools that are meant for on-premise. They scan for things like vulnerabilities, unusual network behavior, and malicious code. And then they turn around and have tools in the cloud that do the exact same thing, but just for the cloud, looking at things like misconfigurations and unusual network behavior there. This results in twice as many siloed alerts, and they still lack the context that they need to actually solve the problem. So, what's missing? So I'll take a minute, close our eyes, think about when we were prepping to come to Inforce. We were packing at home, we woke up early, we left a little bit of room in our bag to put some useless swag in there for our kids maybe. We drove to the airport, we fought through TSA, we went through the crowds, made it to our gate. Now imagine you have a home security system with an application on your phone, and you get an alert saying that your door has been left open. Of course, perfect timing, no one's home for you to call, and your flight is boarding. What do you do? Well, if that door happens to be your front door, it's a real problem. You need someone to help that you trust, or worst case, you have to cancel your trip and go home. If that door happens to be a shed door in your backyard that happens to swing open when the wind blows, it's not really that big of a deal. What you need to make the correct decision here is business context. It's not just the location of the door, but it's the understanding of what is behind the door. Why is there a door at all, and what is it protecting? Imagine that you have now two applications. One is a production e-commerce application, and the other is some internal application that you are migrating to the cloud. The e-commerce application, being a very large revenue-generating method for the company, has a very high impact to the business were it to suffer any downtime. Whereas the internal application isn't even live yet. The data processed and stored by the e-commerce application includes payment information, and as a high-value target is also beholden to PCI, and by its very nature is internet-facing. The internal app doesn't process highly valued data and isn't accessible to the public internet yet. The two applications are used in very different ways as well. The e-commerce application is internally accessed by very few people and is used by customers in a very specific, consistent way. This isn't the case with the internal application, since people are working on this internally, and by the nature of the application, it has many different use cases. The applications are even built on different PaaS services, so those services communicate with different parts of the IT, and the different business use cases, these environments are very, very different. Different business use cases should be treated differently because applications are different. Once you understand the business context, you can leverage that understanding to group the resources involved in that business use case. And then you can create and filter alerting based on that business impact, rather than some arbitrary score given by some best practices framework in a vacuum. This gives you your true threat severity and priority, rather than a theoretical severity score. Alerts are prioritized based on the architecture's importance to the business, as well as the normal impact. This allows you to treat the same misconfigurations or anomaly alerts as different, depending on what impact it has on the business. The only way to do this successfully is by having all data flow through the same set of models and produce alerts across the entire architecture. So I told you in the beginning of the presentation, I'd let you know how your SOC team can get a security platform with this business context. And spoiler alert, it's Darktrace. This is a convention, we're all in marketing, right? Darktrace is able to understand the normal patterns of your users, applications, and resources across not only your on-premise applications, but those that are running in the cloud, no matter what part of the cloud journey you're on. We can cover applications that are simply being lifted and shifted, all the way to those using the newest cloud-native technologies. Darktrace also offers a unique industry-leading autonomous response option for containing threats and preventing issues from spreading. The entire goal is to empower your security team to be able to make decisions based on the full visibility of your business. So if you'd like to see a demo of Darktrace and you want to see a little bit more into how you can get business context into your environment, both on-premise and in the cloud, you can come see us at Darktrace's booth, 1227. We also have some pretty cool swag. We sponsor the McLaren F1 car, so if you see a demo, you can also enter it to get a Lego F1 car. So with that leftover time, I have time for any questions. Very handsome gentleman in the back.
How do you deploy?
Yes, so Darktrace is an entire platform. We cover not only cloud environments, but also on-premise environments. We cover things like email, endpoints, as well as operational technology. All of that data flows in from different locations, so our deployment method for these different services is varied. But specifically with cloud, we are a agentless by default deployment. So we collect logs from AWS. We're able to build architectures in that business context based off of what we see in your environment. We do that through assumed role access into your environment to query your entire architecture. And then we understand what's going on in your environment in real time based off of those logs. We do have the option to deploy agents in certain use cases where additional data is needed that AWS doesn't offer through logs. And then we can correlate that all together and put it all in the one platform finding. Any other questions?
Are you FedRAMP? Didn't say that. Are you FedRAMP?
Yeah, I heard FedRAMP, and the microphone went out on you. So Darktrace has many government customers. We are, depending on which product you're talking about, we do have FedRAMP certification. So in our email product and our network product, we are a high trust in progress. Sure.
How do you deploy on premise?
Oh, on-premise? Sure. So when it comes to on-premise, most times people are looking to monitor their network behavior. We have an appliance that we can ship off to your environment. If your on-premise environment is very spread out, very disparate, we can deploy via virtual probes. But the on-premise appliance taps off of your network, off your switch, and then we receive the traffic and look for anomalous behaviors, detect them, and then, as I mentioned before, we have our respond capability, so we can respond in kind and block those attacks.
Do you have any SaaS connectors?
SaaS connectors? So we work with a lot of different companies. We have a lot of different integrations as well. So one of the big benefits of Darktrace is our visibility of your architectures, and we've visualized that AI understanding as I had on one of the slides before. So that's usually when we have lots of integrations into things like Office 365 or communicating technologies like Slack or Teams, something like that. So the idea is to have the data come into the Darktrace platform, and then wherever you want to handle any of those incidents, whether it's some ticketing system downline or some notification system downline, we can integrate.
Any questions?
Going once. So if you guys want to, the Darktrace booth is right over there again. We can do demos for you, work on different use cases that you might have, and then we're there to answer any questions.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.